for that, Karen. And there was a slide towards the end of that that talked about alternative facts, which brings us beautifully, well planned. Thanks for putting that in. I'm sure Lydia will pay you the fee later. Brings us beautifully to the last talk of the first half, which is a regular. I'm sure if you've been to Ignite before, you'll have heard him speak in the past. But Tom Williamson is going to be telling us about fake news and how to make it. A truth-based talk, apparently. So it says on this bit of paper that I've been given, but, you know, I don't know if I can trust that. Tom Williamson.
Hello again, everyone. Yes, it's a great fun time to be a skeptic at the moment. So fake news is pretty much everywhere, and I'm going to talk about what it is, what it isn't, and how to sort of make it at the end. Thing is, fake news is really easy to find. It's just news that's fake. And Donald Trump is a very President Trump. We have to say President Trump now. Oh, still haven't got used to that. So Donald Trump basically calls anything that he doesn't like fake news. So obviously that isn't fake news. One of the things that isn't fake news is satire. People think that satire is dead. Satire is very much alive at places like Newsthump and the Daily Mash. Yeah, I'm a big fan of those sites. It's also not spoofs. Spoofs are kind of related to satire, and you'll often find the two things on the same sort of sites. So that's from the Southend News Network. That's a great site. I'm a big fan of that one. And one thing you have to take into consideration when you're looking at news and fake news and spoofs and satire and that sort of thing is Poe's law. Poe's law originally said that someone who is a creationist and someone pretending to be a creationist are almost impossible to tell the difference between. But you can extend that into pretty much any sphere where people have ridiculous beliefs. So even to a point where the creators of South Park have said that they're not going to satirize Donald Trump anymore because they can't, because he just satirizes himself. So with fake news, the biggest piece of fake news before the US election was Pizzagate, this conspiracy theory that Hillary Clinton and the Democrats were running a child sex trafficking ring outside of a bunch of pizza restaurants. Sometimes fake news is really, really, really good. I think it was Channel 4 who made this video. I don't know if people have seen it. But they put together a video which showed Barry from EastEnders performing at Donald Trump's inauguration. So I thought that was absolutely fantastic. But the whole idea of fake news and just lying has just infected Donald Trump's people. So Sean Spicer, his press secretary, said that it was the largest audience for any inauguration. There's a lot of white space on that photo, and you know, unless they're all in KKK robes, I think he might be lying. We've heard about alternative facts. Kellyanne Conway, one of Trump's advisors, said that, well, when Sean Spicer said that, he was just offering alternative facts. And just the other day, she tried to defend Donald Trump's immigration policy by citing the Bowling Green massacre, something that never happened, something that she just completely made up. So there's lots of fake news out there. And it's very easy to think that fake news is just an American phenomenon. But the thing is, we've had fake news in this country for decades. It's called the right-wing press. So, it's the Daily Mail, The Sun. I mean, I'm in Liverpool, so I really don't need to go over that headline again. The Daily Mail are just notorious for just making stuff up. There's a headline about all the Romanians and Bulgarians that were going to come over. Remember when that happened? But I'll just show you a headline from The Express. Has anyone tried to read The Express? Yeah. I thumbed through it one day and I just felt myself getting stupider, so I stopped. So this was after a Theresa May speech said that the pound soars, pound soars. But yeah. It didn't, just a complete lie. So there are things you can do about it. Check your facts. There's factcheck.org. There's a site called Snopes, which was originally just for urban legends, but they sort of branched out into politics and that kind of thing, which, you know, really, really good site. So I'm now going to show you one weird trick, how to sort of make it, because if you see a website of any sort, what you can do is change the text of it very, very easily. So if you just want to do this for a laugh, what you do is you right-click on what you want to change, and a little menu will pop up, and you then click Inspect Element. And what that does is that will bring up a little inspector that you'll see in a minute that will show you what you can change. So if you want, you can just change that little bit of text there. And there you are. You've edited a headline on the BBC News website. So if you go on Donald Trump's Twitter account, you can make him say all sorts of things. It's great fun. And of course, you can make him say one or two other things. I just put these together. I just made him say, "I've never seen a thin person drinking Diet Coke," and "Are you allowed to impeach a president for gross incompetence?" Imagine him saying that. Remember what I said about Poe's law? He did actually say those things. But there we are. Thank you very much.
Tom. With that brings us to the end of the first half, and that is definitely a fact. I'm not making that up. It is not fake. It is definitely the end of the first half, but there will definitely be a second half. And that'll be in about 20 minutes. So there's time to get yourself a drink, nip outside if you need to smoke or whatever, or like chat to somebody next to you, make a new friend, discuss the first half, get ready for the second half. So if you've got 1 minute talks, pitches, come and talk to me. Otherwise, get yourselves a drink, and I'll see you in 20 minutes.
Me do what you want me to. Loving you, feeling started, but I'm gonna stop it. Well, if I could, I surely would. I would have rolled on around it, but if I thought it would do any good, why don't you tell the truth? Tell the truth. Well, you know you can make me do what you want me to.
Because I loving you,
Feeling started, but I'm gonna stop it.
well,
If I could, I surely would. I would have rolled on around it, but if I thought it would do any good, why don't you tell the truth? Tell the truth. Well, you know you can make me do what you want me to.
whoa, come on, tell the truth now, yeah. And I know, baby, every day, every night, and all the time. And I know, you ought to stop lying, woo, 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 woo. Yeah, baby, I know, yeah, yeah, and tell the truth, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah, and tell the truth, every day of your life now, tell the truth, little girl. What about that man you were with last night? I want to know. Come on, baby. Hey, hey, and tell the truth now, yeah. Every day of your life, you ought to. Come on, baby, tell her.
Dwayne left the hospital after being operated on. He couldn't walk, couldn't even talk. When they asked the story, he had to get out both his hands. So he sang this song to me. I hope you understand. 'Cause I got two hands, one leg. I'm gonna hop to heaven.
No time for spin doctor's medicine, cooked up by the government, selling me some cover-up, sponsored information, pipe up in a shopping mall, nothing but another drug, a license they can buy and sell. I don't mind dying, but I don't mind dying, I don't mind dying. When I call it comes, I will be ready for war. No time for back end complaints, bourgeois apologists, desperate for an incident, real estate assassins, assessing my predicament. My dollar bills dependent upon it being in your interest. But I don't mind dying. I don't mind dying. I don't mind dying. When that call it comes, I will be ready for war. There is power in the blood, justice in the soul. When that call it comes, I will be ready for war. Power in the blood, justice in the soul. When that call it comes, I will be ready for war.
Raise my sword upright to the bright and shining light, stained crimson red with the blood of the unredeemed. And I cut them limb from limb, and I dash all their kith and kin. You know their bodies I will. There's power in the blood. There's power in the blood. There is the power in the blood.
Don't mind dying. But I don't mind dying. Don't mind dying. When that call it comes, I will be ready for war. 'Cause there is power in the blood, justice in the soul. When that call it comes, I will be ready for war. Power in the blood, justice in the soul. When that call it comes, I will be ready for war. Power in the blood, justice in the soul. When that call it comes, I will be ready for war. Power in the blood, justice in the soul. When that call it comes, I will be ready for war. Burn out so bad, bricks done, but I just couldn't remember my name. You took a lease on some basement down on Josephine Avenue. I got better, you forgot how much I changed. I got here in the heart of the city. Bad man, son was good enough. Train, you're the one hit I never could give up, cause you said to me, when you're falling apart again, nobody to pick up the pieces. I'll turn on the lights and hold your hand tight, and together we'll keep on reaching. Hold up and cold in the rock house, plastic gangsters, sweet blessed company. I started talking Jackson Pollock's walking, Tony Soprano music. Baby, it's time to leave, but I left alone, stoned into the sunrise, looking left and right for all the wrong connections. Baby, hit me one more time. Cause I know you'll never let me go under. Cause you said to me, when you're falling apart again, nobody to pick up the pieces. I'll turn on the lights and hold your hand tight, and together we'll keep on reaching. Just keep on reaching. We'll keep on reaching. I'll keep walking on, baby, till the springtime flowers bloom. Cause when you're falling apart again, nobody to pick up the pieces. I'll turn on the lights and hold your hand tight, and together we'll keep on reaching, keep on reaching. We'll keep on reaching. Keep on reaching. Keep on reaching. Together keep reaching. Together now. Keep on reaching. Together now. Keep on reaching. Together now. Just keep on reaching. Keep on reaching, together now. Keep on reaching, together now. Keep on reaching, keep on reaching. Another psychopath in Iowa, loading up another round, while the NRA in Columbine hunt Marilyn Manson down. Powder in the Pentagon, crew letters in the mail, some KKK white supremacist cooking up a dose of race hate. I tell you now, I don't need no country, I don't fly no flags, I got no slack for the Union Jack. Star stripes got me jet black, yeah. I don't need country. I don't fly no flag. I got no slack for the Union Jack. Stars, stripes, got me jet black, yeah. Afghanistan, Crown Force mama now. While the BMP scare refugees senseless up in Oldham town. Hypocrites in Dowling Street pouring petrol on the flames. Subtle cries ask Patty, why do we always get the blame? I tell you now, I don't need no country, I don't fly no flag, I got no slack for the Union Jack. Stars, stripes, got me jet black, yeah. I don't need no country, I don't fly no flag, I got no slack for the Union Jack. Stars, stripes, got me jet black, yeah.
Sing a song for the asylum seeker, frightened baby on some foreign beach. We better bang a gong and pray they reach safe harbor.
Some mother in Jakarta lays down her weary head in some free trade zone compound where they work you till you're dead. Hunger stalks the corridors, famine and disease. I seen the multinationals walking hand in hand with globalizing marketeers. I tell you now, I don't need no country, I don't fight no flag, I got no slack for the Union Jack. Stars, stripes, got me jet black, yeah. I don't need no country, I don't fight no flag, I got no slack for the Union Jack. Stars, stripes, got me jet black, yeah. I don't need no country, I don't fight no flag, I got no slack for the Union Jack. Stars, stripes, got me jet black, yeah. I don't need no country, I don't fight no flag, I got no slack for the Union Jack. Stars, stripes, got me jet black, yeah.
Sing a song for the asylum seeker, frightened baby on some foreign beach. You better bang a gong and pray they reach safe harbor. You better sing a song for the asylum seeker, frightened baby on some foreign beach. You
It's a sweet shame, it's a pity when you realize those city lights ain't pretty. The streets ain't paved with gold. You wanna be somebody, I wanna be somebody. Let's knock the door, they got let us in. I got fingers on a handle, got another angle. Get your aces up your sleeve, let's go gambling. Every winner is a villain, every loser is a hero. Put on two-step shoes and lose the blues, and dance like it's year zero. When the front runners lose their riders, and the 10-to-1 outsiders hold the future in their hands. Let's fool a poker face pretenders and a casino cool contenders. Grab the chips and put the booty in the bag. Every winner is a villain, every loser is a hero. Put on our two-step shoes and lose the blues, and dance like it's year zero. You wanna be somebody, I wanna be somebody. Let's knock the door, they gotta let us in, yeah. Gotta let us in. Every winner is a villain, every loser is a hero. Put on our two-step shoes and lose the blues, and dance like it's year zero. Winner is a villain, every loser is a hero. Just put on our two-step shoes and lose the blues, and dance like it's year zero. Time.
You stupid. Gotta be out of your fucking mind.
Check this. See, that's these come-down kings and downtown queens who got holed up in space, scared on ketamine dreams. They'd hate to stagger levers, packing a pistol in his jeans. The night the devil went down to Ibiza. Johnny Too Bad and that two-step crew, they got in a beef about some Betty that had been busting loose, hanging out in some trance DJ's condominium the night the devil went down to Ibiza. You better rush, rush, rush till the sun comes up. It's gonna be bling, 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 then hush, hush, hush. Text a message your mama say you ain't coming home. Tell her the devil's gonna DJ down San Antonio. Johnny Too Bad got in that jibbery Jeep. He said, easy, man, we got no time to sleep. From the powder to the pipe in less than a week. The night the devil went down to Ibiza. He had too many parties, he had too many pills. Daddy's yacht in the harbor, mommy paid all the bills. He had no idea what hit him until the devil went down to Ibiza. You better rush, rush, rush till the sun comes up. It's gonna be bling, 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 then hush, hush, hush. Text a message your mama say you ain't coming home. Tell her devil's gonna DJ down San Antonio.
I'll just sell them a pair of used ones and twos. Mama, don't let your little girl go out raving, 'cause I'll curse her on Monday morning with the come down blues. How about you? it, then they said it was fine. So I went outside. Within 5 minutes, contemplated another taxi ride back to the place where I used to score before. Guess rehabilitation goes walking out the door.
Sometimes the light don't shine. Sometimes the light don't shine. Sometimes the light don't shine.
Why?
Sometimes the light don't shine.
Rehabilitated. Some say the only way to ease the pain is getting down and pray. And that's no guru, no teacher for me. I got no faith and no fantasy. I went too many, once blind too long. So many mornings already gone wrong, baby. Been so long, I've been feeling so bad. Deep down in a dark night.
Sometimes the light don't shine. That's the time we gotta open our eyes. Yeah. Sometimes the light don't shine.
Rehabilitated.
Sometimes the light don't shine. That's the time we gotta open our eyes. Yeah. Sometimes the light don't shine. You and me, baby, gonna get
Rehabilitated. So long, I've been feeling so bad. I'm gonna blow away the blues tonight. Cause
sometimes the light don't shine. That's the time we gotta open our eyes. Yeah. Sometimes the light don't shine. You and me, baby, gonna get rehabilitated. Sometimes the light don't shine. That's the time we gotta open our eyes. Yeah. Sometimes the light don't shine. You and me, baby, gonna get rehabilitated.
R is for the recovery you're gonna make in my sumptuous retreat in the hills. E is for how I'm gonna enable you to cure all of your ills. H is for the hurt and heartache that I'm gonna help you lose.
We've got 5-minute warning.
Assessment successful.
This is definitely after 20 minutes. So maybe we'll start
Rehabilitated.
Sometimes the light don't shine.
Rehabilitated.
Sometimes the light don't shine.
Rehabilitated.
Sometimes the light don't shine.
Sing it now.
Sometimes the light don't shine. That's the time we gotta open our eyes. Yeah. Sometimes the light don't shine. You and me, baby, gonna get rehabilitated. Sometimes the light don't shine. That's the time we gotta open our eyes. Yeah. Sometimes the light don't shine. You and me, baby, gonna get rehabilitated. Sometimes the light don't shine.
Everybody sing.
Sometimes the light don't shine.
Everybody sing.
Sometimes the light don't shine.
Everybody sing.
Sometimes the light don't shine. You and me, baby, gonna get rehabilitated.
You ever had a frustrated liver? I knew another guy who had a frustrated liver. One morning he's asleep. It just gets right up out of the chest and runs right along the road. Goes and marries a woman just coming in from Afghanistan.
Every time I manage to get one more breath into this body, I will sing a song of thanks to you, my brothers, my sisters, my friends. May your sleep be peaceful, and angels sing sweetly in your ears.
He puts a shooter in the boot. Got a whiskey at the wheel. Driving too fast down the avenue, casing the joints of the bourgeoisie. Too stoned on a tight band, was too drunk to respond. The devil robbed your pockets while you were lying dying. I hope the angels held you in their arms. Cause when heaven took you home, you left hell on this earth. When heaven took you home, you left hell on this earth. Left to dance. We all know how good that feels. Walking home down Lover's Lane, the sweet morning dew at your feet. The devil's been a drinking, the driver hits and runs. I pray your soul free swiftly, 'cause the light don't shine since you've been gone. The moon's lost the sun. When heaven took you home, baby, you left hell on this earth. When heaven took you home, you left hell on this earth. Now the moon has lost the sun.
She found herself in a new reality. Different people, different personality. Just when she thought that was totally known, another known came along. People lies and they criticized, but didn't realize she didn't care what you looked like in their eyes. So the chance that you had to change that with a pen was straight back to heaven. You better learn. You never had to suffer at the hands of someone who will never yield the truth. 'Cause you're an angel. See how bright you burn. You better learn. You never have to suffer at the hands of someone who will never yield the truth.
Hello, everybody.
When heaven took you home.
Hello. Cool. Right. Look at my amazing stage presence that I don't have, even with a microphone. Anyway, if you want to give a 1-minute pitch, if you can line up down in the 1-minute pitches zone, and we'll crack on with 1-minute pitches. So our first 1-minute pitch, we'll have Emily up first. She's nearest to the front of the queue.
Hi, my name is Emily and I am a marketer, and at the moment I'm also a marketing student, and I'm doing a piece of research and it's about corporate social responsibility. And I'm looking for some lovely, lovely people who wouldn't mind giving 10 to 20 minutes of their time to talk about this with me. It's about how businesses operate in society, and it doesn't matter if you know nothing about it or you deal with it every day. I'm really keen to get a whole mix of opinions. So if you have some kind of secret burning desire to take part in a social science research project, now is your chance. Or if you simply would rather spend 20 minutes of your time talking to me than watching telly, please get in contact. Ignite, I think, are going to put my details up on the Twitter for me, or see me afterwards, and I will send you some more information about the study and about what it means to participate. It is just 10 to 20 minutes of chatting to me about this subject, and hopefully I'm going to come back in a few months' time when it's all written up and I've still got my nerves intact, and talk about marketing and corporate social responsibility. Thank you very much.
Thanks for that, Emily. And if we get Paul and Dina, are you coming as well, or just Paul, talking about intonations?
Hello. Well, intonations has the same initial letter as this event, but it's actually a global phenomenon which was invented in Munich, and it's designed to bring together people from different countries who've, for some reason, arrived in the same city. And it's found in 390 cities around the world, and one of those is Liverpool. I found it in Dortmund when I was working in Germany, but since I've come back to the UK, I've connected up with people in Liverpool from lots of different countries. And by joining Intonations, you can get involved in a load of events. You can go and have meals, you can go to the cinema, you can go on walks, you can invent your own groups to do other things, and you can meet people from lots of different countries and talk about all sorts of weird things. If you're interested in finding out more, you can either look us up on the web, or you can talk to me or Dina, who is going to talk in the second half, and we'll connect you. And there are also other members of Internations sitting in the audience who can tell you more about it. So you can get together in Liverpool or anywhere else in a city where there's an Internations group, and there's lots and lots of them. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Paul. And now another of our... sorry. Dean is going to give another 1-minute pitch. I'm getting confused now. It doesn't take much, admittedly.
Thank you. Okay, just to confuse you a bit more, I'm also a member of Internations, and there are monthly drink nights, dinners, cinema. Paul organizes the walks, the nature walks. So it's a really good way to meet people from other countries. If you're an expat or you have lived abroad and come back and you're suffering re-entry culture shock, then join up. Okay, so now for my pitch. I'm going to be talking about abstraction, which is a design technique, and how it can be used as a design-driven solution for the Internet of Things. And the reason why I'm talking here tonight is because I'm sort of feeling the water and seeing how many people are interested. I've been teaching this material down at an art college in Malta for the past 2 years, and I'm thinking about running some workshops here. So if you like my talk and you're interested in the content, then get in touch with me on Twitter. My Twitter's not working tonight, so I can't respond till tomorrow, but get in touch with me on Twitter or email or whatever, and I'll develop some workshops. All right, thank you.
Right, and another previous speaker from the first half, Michael's going to tell us about a Facebook group.
Hello. All right. If my talk that I gave before was something that you're interested in, something that you want to know more about, want to know any more about me either, I run a Facebook group. The hashtag at the end of my presentation was Conscious Thrivers. My Facebook group is the Conscious Thrivers Circle. It's me and I think about 88 other people, whether from all around the world, all different places. It's all about how to improve different aspects of your life, and everyone sort of bands together and we all improve together. All right, so if you want to either search that on Facebook, or if you message me on Twitter, and I can give you the link to join that. All right, thank you.
And now another mic talking about skeptics.
So I'm from the Merseyside Skeptics Society, as are a couple of the speakers that you saw in the first half. You can probably guess a couple of the ones out there. So if you're interested in exploring interesting ideas, figuring out if there's evidence behind weird ideas or not, we meet kind of every month in the Vines, thank you, on Lime Street. Our next talk is a guy called Paul Duncan McGarity, who's a stand-up and an archaeologist, who's going to answer any questions you might have about archaeology. What happens on a dig? How accurate is Indiana Jones? Is it a good idea for a guy who's a stand-up and archaeologist to call himself an archaeologist? These are all questions that he'll answer if you're interested. That's on this Thursday, the 16th of this month, and it's in the Vines. So come along, and if you want to find out more about us, just Google Merseyside Skeptics, and we're in all the kind of places that you'd expect.
And next, Laurie is going to tell us about Hi Pie.
So specifically, I'm going to plug Coffee Shop Python, which isn't a sequel to Snakes on a Plane, unfortunately. It is a way of people to come together to learn Python, the programming language. So we've been running this thing at Liverpool University. It's just, we have a space where people come together, drink coffee, and learn together. That's been working really well, so we want to spread it out to the rest of Liverpool. So we're going to meet in Muster Custom Coffee on Argyle Street next Wednesday, 15th, from 4 till 7 o'clock. If you're interested in either learning Python yourself or you want to come and help other people learn it, both are very, very welcome. If you want to find out more, we've got a website, hypy.uk, that's HIPY.uk, or come and see me and I'll give you a flyer. Thank you.
We seem to be just getting an ever-growing number of people. Maybe you should all just queue up or something. It's like everybody got a 1 minute pitch to do. Next is Paul, who's going to be talking about Thinking Liverpool.
Hello. About 3 years ago, after an Ignite, my first one, I decided to start a newsletter called Thinking Liverpool. And the idea was that I realised there was a lot of talks and events in the city that were done in different groups, and I wanted to bring them all together to make one place where you could find interesting events like this one. It's thinkingliverpool.com or @thinkinglive on Twitter. Sign up. Thanks.
Thanks for that, Paul. And our final 1 minute pitch is from Francis, who's going to be talking about Awesome.
Hello. Just check who's heard of the Liverpool Awesome Foundation already, if you put your hand up. Okay. So we give £500 every month to the most awesome thing that applies. It's just our own money from like 12 trustees. And you can apply any month. Just search for Awesome Foundation Liverpool and fill in a simple form. If you've got a crazy, mad idea. It's actually 4 years old now, Liverpool Awesome Foundation, amazingly. And we launched it by giving a talk here, as Arino did. So thank you, everyone at Ignite. And yeah, bring us your awesome projects that just need 500 quid to just tip them over and make them happen.
Okay, let's get on with the second half and the long talks that are all of 5 minutes. So kicking off the second half is somebody who's spoken at Ignite before, and he's back again to the stage, and he'll be telling us about everything he learned from watching Groundhog Day 12 times in a row.
Hello. Sorry about that. I thought it was on 4th, and I was wrong. Okay, so what is Groundhog Day? Groundhog Day is actually a day. It's on February the 2nd every year, and in Pennsylvania, and they bring out a groundhog, and he says whether winter's going to last another 6 weeks. And we thought, as you might know, there's a film with Bill Murray in, very popular, and we'll screen it 12 times in a row at Liverpool Small Cinema, which is on Victoria Street over there. So basically, that was the idea, and we started it. And now I turned around and I said that I personally had seen it 12 times in a row, but I wasn't. I didn't actually do it myself. I didn't make it. So much like Brexit, you're going to have to live with that disappointment for the rest of your life. But let's give you some ideas. So I was the projectionist, and I sat down, and effectively, Groundhog Day is 1 hour and 41 minutes. So that gives us 19 minutes to kind of turn the film around. So you get everyone in, sit them down, and then show it. So how was the best ways to do it? One of the best ways to do it is not to watch the transfer deadline window day the night before up till midnight and drink beer. Because when you had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning the next day, you felt terrible. Just to warn you in the past. That's me there, desperately wishing I wasn't, with a stinking hangover. But there was a guy who was there. And the thing was that we also made a terrible mistake as well at the start, because we opened at 6 a.m., which meant that no one could arrive using public transport, apart from one guy, a guy called Richard Inkin, who is our hero of the day, shall we say. Oh, and the TV were there as well. They popped up at 11 o'clock in the morning, and we were in Entertainment Weekly, the BBC. Look, somebody's trying to watch a film there, and Northwest Tonight are filming them. Fuck, I don't know. I mean, that's a terrible idea, isn't it? But, so, yeah, and there's a huge amount of things, but I got cut from the actual edit because I was really rude to them, so I just wanted to kind of say that. Anyway, the reason why I didn't watch it all was because something I described as the crisis. The crisis happened at 10 o'clock in the evening, so I was basically 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock were the sellout screenings. 10 o'clock was when I realised that I still had an entire working day to go and my head fell off. I feel also, thank you so much as well, because all these pictures, which are wonderful, were taken by Jay McNeil, who kind of also sat through the entire thing. So what did I learn? Well, I learned a few things. One of them is the fact that the music to the Groundhog Day is fucking awful. And so Harold Ramis, who's the director, who, if you don't know him personally, wrote, was Egon in Ghostbusters. He wrote loads of the soundtrack and it's garbage. And these two people are the worst human beings in the world. Imagine, if you will, going up to somebody in a bar and buying them a drink, and I'm proposing a toast, and for them to turn around and say, actually, I only propose toast for world peace, and that to be the cock block, that means you never have sex that night. It's not acceptable to me personally. But anyway, sorry, Liverpool Small Cinema is a community-run cinema. It's run by volunteers. These are two people who were very kind enough to accept the kind of madness I was spewing already probably about 6 hours in truth. And they're amazing volunteers. That's your man. That's Richard. Richard is great. This is after midnight. These three people in the middle here are from Drop the Dumbbells, which is a pub over in Everton, which is a fantastic venue. But they didn't... Basically, they rocked up at midnight kind of expecting it to be a party atmosphere, and it was like desolation because everyone had been there already for 18 hours. And so everyone was gabbling to each other like kids who had never been out in the outside world, like twins that had been locked away. That's Sam Meach, whose idea it was, who, as you can see, really did amazing work later on in the evening. And he's over there, little shit. I feel like, yeah, so the hats, the idea of these hats were designed so we could kind of, there I am, having a midlife existential crisis. So we'd look like the people who were, you know, the groundhog wranglers, as if that's a proper job. It's not a proper job, apparently. But you know, you kind of felt like you'd be part of it, and you kind of looked a bit, but we just looked like mentalists. This is at 5 o'clock in the morning. You can't notice this, but I'm quite drunk at this stage, which is why I'm toasting a room with 6 people. And I've got eyes like piss holes in the snow. So what did I learn? Well, I learned that after 24 hours and a stinking hangover at the start of the day, that's the 26. That when basically what happened was I walked out, they had the radio on, like the radio guy ran up to me randomly from Radio Merseyside, stuck the microphone under my mouth and started interviewing me. And to be honest with you, I didn't know what was going on. He's just like, oh, I just thought I'd catch you while you were finishing for some content. And then my mother listened to it, and she phoned me up and went, I didn't think that was you. And that proves to you that if you watch Groundhog Day for 12 times in a row, it changes you. So don't.
Doing those experiments so that we don't have to. He's taking one for the team. So our second talk of the second half is Stella Shackle, and she's going to be asking us, how long can you hold your breath?
I wonder if everyone has held their breath.
So, how long can you hold your breath? This is the Friends of Earth Citizen Science Hair Quality Project together with Michael King. So, we're looking at how long you can hold your breath, but so quick background to Friends of the Earth, looking at protection of the environment, looking at the economics, the social aspects of it. That's our Twitter handle, and that's our website, so you can find out more about us. So, and this is the project with it. So why is air pollution important? 40,000 premature deaths annually, and air pollution contributes to respiratory illness, cardiovascular disease, and there's evidence recently that come out where there's a higher rate of dementia if you live very close to the main road. It's primarily caused by fossil fuel combustion, often from transport. This graph shows nitrogen oxide emissions from transport, and as you can see, it's mainly from road transport. Of course, diesel vehicle scandal, can't forget that. that produces significant emissions of nitrogen dioxide and particulates. And we don't know what the regulations they didn't follow, how much higher it was than they really said. So high pollution events, other countries, Paris made public transport free, restricted vehicle traffic, made car-free days, closed roads, and they're talking about a ban by 2025 for diesel cars and vans. And that's other countries. But in this country, stay indoors, don't exercise. The very small scale events and very little funding for alternatives to motor traffic, such as encouraging active travel or public transport use. So it's not really thinking holistically and strategically about it. Client Earth has taken the UK government to court, won 2 cases requiring an effective action plan. We're still waiting for it to reduce air pollutants and help our air quality environment. And of course, call for air quality. Brexit. EU regulation currently sets the standards, air quality standards in the UK, and has agreed emission ceilings. But with Brexit, will these regulations be relaxed? We've got to make sure that they aren't. Liverpool, air quality management area for nitrogen dioxide since 2009, and in 2010, 239 premature deaths caused by air pollution. So it is a serious concern even in Liverpool. This is just a graph looking at road transport-based emissions of nitrogen dioxide. You can really see the major roads. You can see the airport at the bottom, see Queen's Drive. You can really pinpoint the roads by the red areas, the highest levels of nitrogen dioxide. Air monitoring stations, they closed the one in the city centre in 2012. And there's only speak. Is this really representative of Liverpool air? Is it really showing us what we're breathing in the city centre? This is Liverpool Speak Air is currently scraping data from the DEFRA website, trying to make it more transparent. The red area at the top is above the World Health Organization regulations or guidelines. And as you can see, a week in January, this graph shows a week in January, particulate levels went above that. So our air quality project, we're looking at transparency, how you can make, if people are more aware of air pollution, could it empower them to make the healthier travel decisions and so reduce their own exposure to air pollutants. We have a survey, please fill it in. There's also a follow-up survey afterwards. It really helps our project. We can then present the data back and really help promote high levels of air quality. We bought, funded by the Liverpool CCG, we bought some sensors which volunteers are carrying around, nitrogen dioxide and particulate sensors, and just measuring the local air pollution. And with these, we're mapping data. This is showing Loop Line and going up to the A59, and another one is the Mystery Park to the Rose and the Princess Road roundabout. So really showing, as you go into the orange, that's higher levels of particulate pollution. So really showing roads are a real effect. So think about your mode of transport. Think about when you travel. Think about what a green infrastructure is around. Trees and bushes can absorb pollution. Think about queuing traffic. And if you're idling your engine, think about your people around you, but also it's affecting your own air environment in the car. So, did you hold your breath? It's 2 minutes is a healthy human with practice can do. 24 minutes if you breathe in a lot of oxygen, and an hour I think is a bit beyond us as a species. But, we can try. So, thank you so much for listening, and please fill in our survey and spread the message about it.
Quality eggs is currently strapped to the back of my bike for whenever I'm cycling around the city to gather some data for them. So I think it's mostly diesels that was going on, so I think we might be just about get away with the next talk. But yeah, it's an interesting segue from air quality and vehicles into the future of Formula One. So our next speaker is Sarah Jones, who's been up to speak before about presumably more environmentally friendly with the kind of Formula E stuff, but tonight talking about the future and the best 5 drivers for the next 4 years of Formula One.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Hello, James and Julie. I know you're watching. So, my talk tonight is which 5 drivers are the future of F1 in the next 4 years and why? You're all probably sitting there thinking, what's she going to talk about? Well, I'm going to start with a little detour because the current status of F1 is this one has now gone. Mr. Charles Bernard Ecclestone has gone bye-bye. So now he's now left F1 after 40 years. It's now been bought out by Liberty Media, who is owned by Chase Carey, who is an American, with Ross Brawn, who, if you're a Formula 1 fan, you'll know who Ross Brawn is. He's now commercial director of motorsport, and Sean Bratches, who was part of the ESPN world, and is now the commercial and marketing director. Obviously, I've gone on a detour. I'm not really sorry, to be honest with you, but I had to kind of say it because Bernie's gone. Yes! So basically, which 5 drivers do I think are going to be the future of F1 and why? As the slide decides to move. So, does anyone know any drivers? Well, no, because he's not. Every time I ask this question, I get that bloke. Well, no. So, you know, you're a fan of Countdown. Great song. So, let the countdown begin. Ooh, wonder if it kind of... I've got it in my head now, sorry. When it decides to load. Charles Leclerc. He is a French driver. He's part of the Ferrari Academy, and he will be going places. He's basically, how can I put it? He's a Ferrari Academy driver. He's Formula Renault 2.0 champion. He's GP3 champion of 2015. He made his first appearance in F1 for the Haas F1 team at the British Grand Prix last year, and he's graduating to the feeder series of GP2 this year with Prima. Pierre Gasly is the next one. He's a French driver, and he's part of the Red Bull Young Driver Academy. Less I say about that academy, the better, because they kind of follow me on F1 and I can't really say anything. But he started karting in 2006. He gradually rose through the ranks to become Formula Renault 2.0 champion in 2013. He was a reserve driver at Red Bull Racing in 2015, and he was also the GP2 champion of last year. Moving on to Louis Detraz. He is another driver that I rate very, very highly. He follows me on Twitter, so Lewis, if you are watching on some off chance, hi. Basically, he's quite young. He started karting in 2008. He started his career, his racing career, in the Formula BMW Talent Cup Series, graduated to Formula Renault 2.0, which is a common trend in 2015, made his 3.5 debut, which is the Series Up, in 2015, and he's also a BMW driver. Lando Norris, now, he is 18 off the top of my head, and he's impressed the motor world straight away. He's absolutely fantastic. He's from New Zealand, if I remember rightly. Started racing when he was 7. His route into motorsport is quite unconventional. Ginetta Junior Championship, which I don't really know much about, sorry. The MSA Formula Series in 2015, won the series, as you can tell by there. He's now in British F3, and he's moving through the ranks. But this is my boy, who I think is going to do it. Jack Atian, who follows me on Twitter, and I know you're watching, Jack. Hello, thank you very much. This boy is part of the Renault F1 driver programme. He is in GP3 at the moment, but he won the Euro Cup Formula Renault 2.0 Series title in 2015. He won the Alps title in the same year, and he graduated to GP3 last year, and he's a Renault Sports Development driver, and I think he's just been signed for GP2, but I haven't checked my phone today. So this is the class of 2017. Perez, Felipe Massa, Jolyon Palmer, Kevin Magnussen, Kimi Raikkonen, and Daniel Fiat. These are the candidates I think could leave F1. Perez is a bit of a long shot, but which one out of the 5 drivers I've mentioned do I feel are going to replace? Now, Perez is a bit of a long shot because he's got Telmex backing, but if he does get replaced, then I reckon Lando Norris could do it, or he could replace Felipe Massa at Williams and be with Lance Stroll, who, less we say about him, the better, really. Leclerc could replace Kevin Magnussen at Haas F1, which makes sense. Atian to replace Jolyon Palmer at Renault, which would make sense. Pierre Gasly to replace Fiat at Toro Rosso, which would make sense. So in conclusion, these all 5 drivers that I've mentioned can get to F1. The routes may be unconventional, but they've got the talent and the ability to be there. So that's my thoughts, and see you for the next talk. Thank you very much. Thank you.
They call me baby driver. Once upon a pair of wheels. What's my number? I wonder how your engines feel. Scoot down the road. What's my number? I wonder how your engines feel.
Thanks for that, Sarah. For a bit there, it looked like the future of F1 was French, but then at the end we got a couple of other nationalities snuck in there as well, which is all good. Our next speaker is Martin Graff, and he's going to be telling us about the function of non-verbal behaviour in human courtship. Welcome to the stage, Martin Graff.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. So I'm going to be talking about non-verbal communication in human courtship, i.e. kind of hooking up, I guess. I'm not a dating coach or anything, I'm a psychologist, and I'm going to tell you about some of the psychology studies in this area. So it is kind of non-verbal communication I'll be talking about. So it is non-verbal, as I say. There are relationship scripts, sexual scripts. So it's not kind of like you go home and you say, oh, have a good day, office to you, sex at 10. It's not like that. It's kind of more sort of non-verbal. These people, Purper and Fox, said that there were stages people go through, which was approach, swivel and synchronize, and touch. So people have to go through these stages in order to sort of initiate a relationship, if you like. So the first one, and they did this by observing people in singles bars in North America. The first stage is the approach stage. So obviously, psychologists tell you something that you already know, obviously, because you'd have to approach somebody to be able to talk to them. You wouldn't wave, the other side of the room. That wouldn't get you anywhere. So you have to approach them. So that's the first stage, is to approach. And there's some psychology on this, that females apparently don't like being approached from the side. Males don't like being approached from the front. If you want any more on that, I can tell you more about that from evolutionary psychology later on. But that's the way to approach people. You don't approach guys from the front. You don't approach ladies from the side. Next thing you have to do, obviously, is smile. So if you approach somebody, you're not going to frown. You're going to smile. These two faces here show you, sincere and insincere smiles. So the sincere smile, you use these muscles here on your eyes, orbicularis oculi, to smile. And then when you approach, people generally do the eyebrow flash. You can't see that, but hello, and you flash your eyebrows. Please don't do that in Japan. It's got a very culturally specific meaning in Japanese culture to flash your eyebrows, so don't do it there. You can do it in Europe and maybe the States only. Next stage is swivel and synchronize. So once you've approached, you're sitting down, you have to sort of swivel around to face somebody, and what people generally do is to synchronize their movements. And that kind of indicates a degree of kind of rapport. If you want to know if somebody is actually attracted to you, one of the sort of surefire methods is to look at their eyes. If you can get that close. If their pupils dilate, it means they're attracted to you. If your pupils are dilating, you're attracted to them. Just a word of warning, if you're going to go in and look at people's eyes, pupil dilation is also sort of shock. So they might be thinking, how terrible you are. Next thing you have to do, obviously, is start a conversation, an opening line. So an opening line is generally, I'll show you some in a moment, but you wouldn't go up to somebody and say, oh, hello, the floor is a bit brown, would you? Because that's not an opening line. Here's some of the lines which come from a guy called Chris Clunky. Is that really your hair? You remind me when a woman is to date, your place or mine, I'm easy to you. It's cold, let's make some body heat. Females to males, didn't we meet in a previous life? It's been a long time since I had a boyfriend. And what were the other ones? Anyway, you have to ask an opening question. So it has to be a question. And what you're looking for in sort of psychological terms is what people say in response, if they use your name. So if I ask a question and they use my name, Martin, that's a good thing. If the reply is lengthy, that's a good thing also. And then you're looking for kind of what we call movements, synchrony and behavior matching. So you can see some people here who are matching the same behaviors, moving in synchrony. Again, that's a kind of non-verbal indication of rapport between people. If you want to really know what people are thinking, we're very good at hiding our non-verbal behavior above the waist. Below the waist, Paul Ekman said there's a phenomenon called lower body leakage. So if you look below the waist, you can tell that somebody might be a little bit sort of bored with you. Then we get into the touch phase. Touch isn't just touching people in the touch phase. It's other things about the way in which we talk as well. One of the things is to do with disclosure of information. So, telling people about yourself. if you tell people about yourself, and not too much, you wouldn't go up to someone and say, my mother's an alcoholic, that's too much too soon, but you might go up and just tell them a little bit about yourself. You can get them to like you by telling them about yourself, and if you get them to tell you about them, that makes them like you too. The other thing we have to engage in is a little bit of humor. The general rule is that, again, from an evolutionary psychology point of view, is that males have to produce humor, females have to appreciate humor. That's the kind of general rule. So, you know, it's a guy who's making a girl. This guy, Nick Huguin from University of Southern Brittany in France, carried out this really cool study in a French nightclub where he got guys to sort of touch ladies just on the lower wrist there, and those who touched were more successful at initiating contact. Finally, happiness is to do with the amount of sex you have. A professor of mine carried a little study on this and said to people, how many people have sex every night? And they went, yeah, we do. How many people have sex once a week? Yeah, we do. How many people once a month? Yeah, we do. Once every 6 months, once a year. And the guy goes, yeah. How come you're so happy? And the guy says, well, it's tonight. Okay. Thank you very much.
Fascination. What's that? Body heat. What's that? Body heat. When your body won't do what you want it to. And you don't do it because you know you're through. What's that? Body heat. What's that? Body heat. When you can't get your body free. And you need some love for your tension ease.
Thanks for that, Martin. I was slightly worried at first that it was just going to be, not worried, but intrigued that it could have been like our entire first Ignite talk all in mime with non-verbal stuff, but no, very informative. So our next speaker, our penultimate speaker tonight, is somebody who's spoken in the past, I think, and he's back for some more, and Eric Masaba is going to tell us about how numbers are pictures. Welcome to the stage, Eric.
Good evening. This is going to be a really kind of a strange one. Did you realize that every number is actually a picture and all the pictures exist? That means everything you're going to do, probably have done, is already searchable in some index somewhere. It sounds crazy, but theoretically a big enough computer or cluster of computers could find all those images of you being naked, you doing stuff with Donald Trump, whatever. We could even tag them and put them in your Facebook, Instagram, or Snapchat feeds. It sounds completely nuts, so let me explain a bit more. Everything is a number. Every book ever written is a number. The set of all books ever written is a number. Movies, pictures, anything you store on your computer is stored as a number. Back in the day, on computers, this is what you had to do to create images. You took like a grid and then you drew the thing and then you had to convert them into numbers, and that's how they're stored. It was actually very visceral in those days. It was actually exactly that way. The number of images you could have for a certain size is in this ratio 2 to the n. If you've only got 1 bit, a 1 by 1 pixel, you've only got 2 images. If you've got 8 bits, you can have 256 images. If you've got 64 bits, 2 to the power of 64. Any image starts that way, and any image can be shown as a raster image that way. Raster means that when you scale it, it doesn't get any more fine. It will look blocky. When you want more colors, you have to increase the bit width. So if you wanted 8-bit color, you need 3 times as many bits. It's just to do that 2 to the power n. So that's the basic idea. And I thought about 30 years ago, when somebody said this to me, I thought, that's really odd. How can that be the case? Well, we see this anyway with this thing called a Mandelbrot set, which actually is a simple mathematical function which you can keep zooming in and getting more detail. Apparently it never repeats, and that's just from one mathematical function. Back in the 30s, the Germans thought that if they created a big enough code machine with enough variations, you'd never be able to break the code. And this was Enigma. Actually, that's a Lorentz machine, which had even more dials. But with Enigma, they'd have 15 billion combinations. That's 15 trillion. Snowden says if you want to secure yourself against NSA snooping, get a password, assuming the NSA can guess 1 trillion guesses a second, which means they'd break Enigma in literally 15 seconds or less. So why is this useful and why should we worry? Well, you can solve a lot of these what are called MP hard problems, which are very difficult problems in mathematics, which require lots of combinations, using those brute force methods, okay? you can see the solution set and then find similar candidates. So if we wanted to start with a picture of anyone, like Adrian, for example, doing something with Donald Trump, we could just start with the two of them and have the computer cluster start to look for those images, and we would find them. They exist somewhere. So now, how do you know if anything is actually true? Just because you saw a picture, it doesn't necessarily mean it happened. Computing power is getting bigger and bigger. We can do all sorts of things. And as we move forward, we're going to see more and more fakery. So what are the implications of this? You could have an image which could be proved to really exist, which could set whatever gender you wanted. We can fake anything now. And fake is no different to true, because all the images exist already. You can mathematically do it. What can we do to mitigate this in the future? I think the ultimate thing is you've always got to try and get more than one source, and you've always got to be aware that what we can do with computers can be used for good as well as evil. There was a bit there which I pointed out that numbers are evil. Numbers are just numbers, yes, but they are documents, they are pictures, they're images. This is some high school kids who tied 8 world records for solving a version of the traveling salesman problem, which 20 years ago would have been the most unbelievable feat. They did it probably in an afternoon as a science project. So that's just to recap. All images already are there. They already exist. We've all got images of us doing something, being naked, something embarrassing. It's a triviality now for computer clusters to search that image space. Even right now, the numbers are huge and big. It can be done. What will we do in the future to know who is telling the truth? We can have any image we want, and that's going to become increasingly the case. So please do think about that. Will we know what's real? Will we be able to know the difference between actual real images and images which we've just literally created from a computer? Thank you very much.
4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And he's just spoiled our big surprise and grand reveal where we were going to have Donald Trump as the last speaker tonight. I'm a bit good about all of that. And no, actually, we are going to have an American as our last speaker tonight, but she's nowhere near as evil as Donald Trump, or she hides it better than he does. I don't know. So our last speaker is Dina Denaro Bickerstaff, and she's going to be telling us about provoking desire through sensory design and abstraction.
Thanks. Sorry, I'm going to read my notes from. My name's Dina. I'm a designer, and I'm going to talk about abstraction and sensualistic design. I've been teaching this stuff down in Malta for the past couple of years, but first I'll start with some definitions. Sensualistic design is the process of creating designs that evoke an intuitive response in the customer. The results are similar to advertising, except we sell product through story. Instead of selling product through story and narrative, we sell product through form and aesthetics. Abstraction explores how visual relationships can be used to generate unique and innovative forms. From left to right, we have studies in rectilinear volumes, planar surfaces, and lines in space. Remember the wire sculpture to the right? We'll be coming back to that in a few minutes. These studies are basically extensions of Pete Mondrian's work, which focus solely on the relationships between form, color, and contrast. Abstraction offers a concrete language to help a designer objectively assess their work. Typically, there's a dominant, subdominant, and subordinate element in each composition. We also analyze forms in terms of gesture, access, movement, and groupings. Mastering these techniques offers one a set of tools that can be used to create truly original forms. On my degree course, we were taught an alphabet of curves. Our first exercise, to create those wire sculptures from 3 to 5 different curves. These practices allow the novice designer to focus on aesthetics without the burden of having to resolve function. Once the designer has mastered the aesthetics, they can revisit the process to include functionality, and over time, the aesthetics become ingrained in second nature. This is important because directly in CAD tends to flatten things out. Objects are because objects are being viewed two-dimensionally. A designer should only begin sketching in CAD after they've mastered 3 dimensions. This helps one learn about fabrication as well. Too often, research means looking things up on Google. So designers are filling their brains with stuff that's already been done before. This kills innovation and fosters subconscious plagiarism. Sorry, I've gotten ahead of myself. It seems to be stuck on that one. Too often, research means look things up on Google. So designers are filling their brains with stuff that's already been done before. This kills innovation and fosters subconscious plagiarism, but abstraction can help people push the boundaries to create something truly unique. Abstraction techniques are most evident in fashion and jewelry design, where aesthetics hold equal weight with function. It's important because when aiming for the high-end market, the significance of aesthetics grows proportionately with the value of an object. The best designers know how to strike a balance between form and function to create designs that are timeless rather than trendy. These are some of the designs that will stand the test of time. They're innovative, have pleasing lines, and interesting relationships. Remember the wire sculpture? Here we have a fully developed embodiment of it, a composition of 3 different kinds of curves: supporting, resting, hyperbolic, parabolic, directional, and accented. Which one makes for a more pleasant user experience? Oh, and this is a juicer of volume, lines, and curves. In terms of functionality, it's hopelessly useless, but it's important because it opened up the conversation of what design actually could be. And here is a most elegant solution to thinking outside the box. Your basic coffee table transformed by Swedish architect CKR through studies in rectilinear planes. It's simplistically beautiful. And this sinewy chair was arrived at through studies in concavity. Once a designer really understands how to manipulate surfaces, this knowledge stays with them regardless of the fabrication process. Sometimes all it takes is a very subtle tweak for a whole composition to really sing. I had teachers that would have me trim just a fraction of an inch off a curve or open up an angle just 1 or 2 degrees, and that would make all the difference in the world. And this is what provoking desire is all about. Look at how a few well-placed lines can completely beautify an object. If money weren't an issue, it's no question which would be the impulse buy. Which would you rather have? And these designs by Alexander McQueen, they're not just studies in lines and planes. They're also a study in how color, contrast, and texture can update an historically iconic look. So back to provoking desire. If you've got a squeamish lover, which do you think will be the more seductive effect? The designers at Lalo have literally turned a lifelike facsimile into a sleek object of pleasure. And the reason I'm telling you all this is because I'm really curious to see how abstraction techniques can sex up the Internet of Things. If you're interested in this too, please get in touch. Thank you.
It's bad timing and me. We find a lot of things out this way, and there's you, a little black cloud in a dress.
Thanks a lot, Dina. Sadly, that brings us to the end of Ignite this evening. There's been all sorts of interesting things we've learned about. It looks like now I've been making notes, and I'm going to read some of these amazing facts back to you, but I haven't. You're going to have to remember them yourselves and talk to other people to find out what they were. But I have got some notes for some other bits and pieces. So our next Ignite is going to be on May the 17th, which is a slight difference to, have we previously advertised? We may have if we previously advertised a date, it might not have been that one. Because we've moved it a little bit so that we can fit in with Global Ignite Week, because the Ignite happens kind of all over the world. And so there's Global Ignite Week happening in May, where there's going to be all sorts of Ignite. So if you want to kind of jet off somewhere around the world, go to one of the other ones. But if you want to stay in Liverpool, come to this one. It'll be on the May 17th here in Leeds, as usual. So that's the next one sorted. And one thing we talked about a little bit at the last Ignite was sponsorship and making kind of Ignite sustainable, so we didn't have to be forking out for stuff, those of us who all kind of volunteer our time to organise it. So I wanted to give you an update on that. We had loads of really good support after we talked about that last time. And you may have seen Jet Set Robots logo in the slides and stuff at the start, because they were our Ember sponsor, have made that happen. So thanks to them for that. And we've had a few other people. There's a load of people who support us on Patreon, and who give us, and all of you help on the door as well, which is all awesome and much appreciated. So we think things should be okay for us not to have to start charging for it. If you do want to help us out and sponsor Ignite more, we have some sponsorship packs now. Get us, aren't we? We're getting organised and everything. We had conference calls and Skype calls and stuff. It's crazy. Yeah, so we've got sponsorship packs. If you go to igniteliverpool.com/sponsor, or Neil is waving some around now because he likes to wave bits of paper in the air. So come and have a chat to us afterwards if you're interested in that. I think the main thing that remains to be done then is to thank Neil, Dan, Lydia, Andy, Mandy, Paul, and me, I suppose, for helping put it all together. They do all the hard work. I just get to stand up in here and take all the glory. So thanks to all of them for putting it together. And a big round of applause again to thank all of our speakers tonight who've done an amazing job. And thanks to you all for coming, and we shall see you again in May.